We've been talking about the International Day of Violence Against Women. Of course, this year they are talking about prevention of violence against women. Now, social worker and public health expert Bose Ironsi is here in the studio with us to talk about this. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
You know, I saw Kemi's report. I wish you had had the opportunity of seeing it. You know, it just makes you wonder whether we really have a clear picture of how prevalent violence against women is in Nigeria. And when we say violence, exactly what are we talking about here?
Okay, talking about prevalence, I think we have not really been able to come out to say this is the prevalence. But globally, there is a consensus, a kind of a belief that 1 in every 3 women will face violence in her lifetime.
And that is high.
And that is quite high. In short, for my own self, I believe that's against women. What you are talking about is any form of abuse. Could be physical, psychological, it could be economical deprivation, it could be emotional, that will make that person to be discriminated against just because she's a woman. Any form of violence. And it happens in our home, in our immediate family, and so that makes it domestic. It happens in our place of work, on the way, and everywhere. So it makes it, that also makes it a gender thing, because you are perpetrating this violence because this person is a woman. Okay, and it happens in situations of war. And then you have a lot of, you know, if you look at globally, when you are talking about war, the people that bear the brunt are the women. They are either taken as sex slaves, they are, you know, abducted, and all forms of abuse takes place. So, but I must say that we are yet to come to terms with the fact that the violence is there, and it's happening every second.
All right. Now, you will agree with me that violence against women has become a pandemic of global proportion. Why do you think that women always find themselves on the wrong side as victims?
Well, I think we now call them survivors. They are no longer victims. The reason being that it is the patriarchal nature of the society. The way we place value on the girl child. Okay, that's what it is. And over years, centuries, this violence has been going on, and it is accepted culturally. And so it's going on, okay? Culture says you are a woman, if you go through this kind of violence, it's allowed, that means you take it. If you marry a child of 13 years, and you say she's a wife, what has that child gone to? What does she know about marriage? And so there are a lot of things. It's the power control. Is seeing woman as a sex object that makes women to be victim. If you see a woman who is having issues and you ask her, maybe she's having conflict in the home, and she goes to her family, the mother will be the first person, or even the father will say, you know what I did to your mother for several years and she's still with me? Go and bear it, you know. So
there's that social conditioning.
Yes.
It's made like a way of life.
It is accepted norm that woman, that's the way she should be. You are told how to sit. You are told what to eat. You are deprived. Everything is just around her.
All right, we'll come back to that, Bose Ironsi. Let's go to Kemi Balogun. Kemi, you want to tell us exactly what this year's theme is and what plans are in place actually to mark this. I hear that it's going to extend up to December 10. December 10.
Some of the plans that are in place is, like I said earlier, there's a campaign for 16 days, which is called Orange the World. and it will start from today, the 25th, and it will end on the 10th of December. Now, this 16 days is just to raise more awareness. It's to also advocate for elimination of violence against women, and most of the landmarks that will be brightened by the color orange will be Niagara Falls, of course, in Canada. We'll also have the EU Commission in Belgium, and some other very peculiar landmarks will also be painted in orange. Now, apart from that, there will be dinner concerts, there will be a lot of campaigns, road walks, road shows, just to be able to get the word out in various countries, to make sure that a lot of people are aware that this is a key issue that must be addressed, and the sooner it is done, these numbers, these staggering numbers that we have, will be at least reduced to a number that can be controlled, because as it is, violence cannot be eradicated, but it can be prevented. Like the theme of this year is prevention, and that is what they are working towards, to be able to see that they find interventions, various ways to be able to curb the spread of violence. And most of the time, it's not like it's a vaccine or a medicine that can be given to people to say, okay, this is stopped, but it has to start from people's mindset. And like Boss has said, the culture that we are in, most of the time women don't even know that it is their right to say stop, or this is wrong, or what you're doing to me cannot continue. So most people are just comfortable remaining silent about it, and so that is why this year is what the theme of this year is on prevention, to make sure that these things are brought to the barest minimum and people understand the gravity of actually committing this kind of violence against women.
Do you, by any chance, speak with any NGOs within Abuja metropolis to find out how ready they are for this long campaign of 16 days?
Unfortunately, no, I haven't been able to speak, but today we have a few programs that have been lined up. So most of these civil society people will obviously have organized the day for the elimination of violence against women, and I would be able to get a lineup of whatever programs or events they have for the next 16 days.
All right, Kemi Balogun, thank you very much for your time. And of course, I'm sure you package a lot more reports on this day. But let's come back to the studio where Boss Ironsi is here. When we talk about violence against women and all these ills, that are inflicted on the woman, there seems to be a tendency to concentrate more on the urban woman rather than the rural woman. Is she left out in the picture here?
Well, I don't think...
What is her situation, really?
No. Her situation is even more
precarious.
Yes, it's more deep, and it's more worrisome. Because now in the urban you can think about, you can listen to radio, you can, and then in the urban you're actually trying to interface with the culture, and you are saying, no, I cannot accept this and all that. But there in the rural area, the culture is what they see, it's what they practice. And so, and they have this culture of silence totally. They don't talk about it. But here you can still say, no, I don't want. You have the Facebook to say this, something happened. You have CSOs concentrated in the rural, in the urban area, they are talking about it. For example, I work in the peri-urban. I'm working in areas of gender-based issues. I must tell you that women don't even understand that these issues exist, And one of the key things I also think that people need to appreciate is that there are laws, and there is need for people to interact with this law. There is a basis with which you can speak out. But people are not aware. If somebody is not even aware of our rights, how would they interact?
Isn't that where education comes in?
Yeah, education comes in.
You know, the classroom, four walls, you know,
Now,
education
talking about,
and social education.
Yeah, I'm talking about prevention. You know, she mentioned about prevention,
Yes.
which is
this year's theme.
I also believe that for us to change this whole process of violence against women, we need to interact with the men. If the men are in the forefront of talking about gender-based violence, violence against women, one of it, not total, is to educate the men to say no. That's one. Two, is to also to educate families to give a better orientation to their male children, because that's where it is. And then for families to also know that, especially fathers, to know that whatever power there's a bit in home, their children, their male children are looking at them.
Watching.
They are watching, and so there's a bit. If you look at some homes, some women that have been faced with violence, if you look at the history of those children, they've also they are coming from a family of violence. So a lot needs to be done to give a different orientation to the families and to the men, and then to the women to also say, don't take violence as a way of life. It is wrong.
Don't accept it.
Don't accept it as a way of saying, oh, I have been violated. No, he loves me. Well, I have no place to go. And then the government have a strong responsibility, you know, to come out there and say totally no.